Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on, it seems like Friday, but it's actually Wednesday, the 23rd of December. So, the day before Christmas Eve. So we start off with looking at news-wise, what's big in the news at the moment. Of course, Brexit's still bubbling around, but there doesn't seem to be anything getting any closer on that. The same old can being kicked down the street. However, Trump has finally thrown in the spanner into the works. I do find this odd that he's had all the same time as everyone else looking at this rescue bill, and yet when it comes to signing it, he's saying he's going to refuse to at this stage. But we'll see what happens. This could have quite a knock-on effect in the US, of course. If he doesn't sign it, we'll see a shutdown in the US government on the 29th of December. And of course the 900 billion in emergency economic aid will be frozen. So nothing will be happening there. People will not get these checks that were being offered, and supposedly rush through just after, around about Christmas, just after Christmas. So we'll see, but for now it seems to be, as I say, throwing a spanner in the works. What that could mean to the markets, which just leads into further uncertainty, and it's never good when the markets are locked. I say markets are locked down, but the government is shut down in the US there. So, but I guess people just got more used to it. Now, of course, it was passed by such a great extent, it could just go through again, but he still needs to sign it, and the very fact that he won't sign it could effectively be a veto. So there we go. Hopefully he'll come around and sign it at lastminute.com. So looking elsewhere then at the markets here, well, that does have a bearing on the markets and what may happen. If he doesn't sign it, well, we would expect in normal circumstances money would be risk off, but these markets have gone a bit strange of late. Looking at them technically, starting off with the euro dollar, and well, at this stage we've got this consolidation going on the dailies here. It's still in an upward trend on this daily basis, hasn't changed yet. It's trying its best on the 4 hourlies to give us more of a change on that. It actually gave us a little higher low into yesterday when it just peaked through the highs there. And it's okay, it's dropped lower here, so effectively we could end up with a lower high here. Let's just bring it down to 60 minutes. Sometimes it's a bit clearer to see. At this stage, it's again on the 4 hourly, hourly here. It's putting the higher lows in. It's looking at erring. I've got a feeling we could just end up a bit range bound in between these prior highs here, yesterday's highs, and well the lows. But we'll just see how this works its way out. It was quite choppy for quite a long time yesterday, pushing through. We had various hits around this area down at, let me just click on here so I can do something with my mouse. There we go. 122.05. So we had various hits on around that area in terms of support. That could in itself become resistance. At the moment we're just going through the daily pivot. A more solid push through the daily pivot and it would become more bullish to me, and we could see it running up, as I say, towards that those previous highs. Really needs to get beyond that 50 though to be looking more on the longer side. Short side still could have it. Short side, just a trend line across the lows here again would be sufficient for that. Just if it starts breaking through that area, and then the S1 would become quite a nice target. That's the euro. The pound. I've left this regression channel on, and it's still sitting in there. And well, yesterday ended up as a down day, but still well within the range, not far off its rising mean. It's sort of, maybe they can, maybe they can't, still sort of being talked about in terms of Brexit, and it's dancing around, but it is still relatively bullish here. Solid sort of movements pushing through the later US session into the Asian session, and this morning at the moment still pushing up. Here we could have resistance back into that weekly pivot. The daily R1's just up that area. There are quite a few pips involved in these moves, so just be aware that I mean, even there yesterday it didn't look very much, but there's sort of That was 50, near enough 100 pips in that tight old range there. So the range is as tight as they look. There's a lot of pips, so just be wary that you'd need bigger stops on some of this pound, or if you're trading the pound at the moment. At the moment, it has. I will try and draw it on here. Sometimes my drawing tool goes a little bit weird when I'm recording. Oh, there you go. It's very roughly there, but it has broken, partially sideways, but it seems to have a bit of a leg up on the moment, and we'll see what happens here. This may just pull back to this trend line. It probably should be drawn across the high of that line there, but I've done a bit of a best fit here. But either way, it may just pull back to these trend lines and catch another bounce. We'll see. But at the moment, it looks like it's pretty much on for its R1 and those prior highs. Okay, just throw another trend line on there. Yen. Right, so let's just go up the time frames here. Yen yesterday again bounced up, rolling over. It's really staying within this sort of larger trend. It's away from its mean, but it's still pushing pretty much to the downside in the bigger picture here. We could be pushing now for there is some nearer term trend lines here which it could be looking to break. Certainly looks like well, let's just pop it on there if I can. I'm just sort of looking at this sort of nearer. There's a couple of sort of levels around these points here. Well, there was a head and shoulders kicking across there. It's broken by this surge up here, but either way, forget about those sort of patterns for now. And the more it looks like it's going to test this level here, I'm sure there'll be stops below these prior lows, and it may become quite a tester this morning. As it's pushing down, but already done quite a big move. A lot of these markets making it quite difficult for us to jump aboard straight away. Anyway, we'll have a look at how they work out during the day. Aussie dollar, again another market pushing up, still in the big trend on this time frame. Things really haven't changed. It's a mess though on the 4 hourly. You come down to the 4 hourly, it doesn't look quite so obvious. So we had put lower highs in on that 4 hourly pattern. It does look like it could continue on the softer side, but very much like the euro here, higher low coming through on the hourlies. There are a number of lower highs, etc., kicking the other way, and again we could be looking where it's already broken this near-term trend line. The bigger trend line, well, drawing across these points here, I think it looks like it's just breaking that as well, and at this stage looks like there could be more upside. Of course, this is just pre 8 o'clock. We often see these sort of quite big moves, or what appear biggish moves pre 8 o'clock, and then all of a sudden it's all given back. So I find it hard to read into what it's currently doing, but what it has done and what we're looking at here, well, as I said, it does look like maybe a little bit more upside on that at least. Canadian dollar, it'll show me today. There we go, Canadian dollar. Well, the Canadian dollar has been a bit softer over the last few days actually, unlike the others. However, well, it still hasn't really done too much to say, well, it's into a bullish run. It has turned the corner a little bit more on some of these markets, and when you look, well, same consolidation here. And we may, again, drawing trend lines across the lows here, may see it start to try and break down. It's a very messy old market there. I don't day trade it very much. It's more of a swingy sort of trade if I get into one. Just looking at what's happening here, the higher lows being or this is a higher lows being confirmed. This, well, it could become anything yet. We could, if it starts, well, it's already, as I said, there's a trend line across the lows there which has already been broken. If it breaks this 50 MA, well, maybe see a bigger correction there. This low taken out, where it just confirms a stronger downward trend, but at this moment, well, it's catching a bit of a bid, the dollar on that, so could carry on. Certainly not something I'll be chasing for. If it does, actually, there's a trend line across. It can be a trend line across the highs there, and a break of that may give the trigger to at least up to the daily R1. I wouldn't expect massive moves today, but goodness knows what's happened in these markets at the moment. Okay, that's Canadian dollar. Moving through then to oil. Do let me know if you want anything else covered whilst I'm doing this. daily, here we go. Oil, again, strong trend at daily wise. Bit of a retracement where we're sitting at the moment. Correction running across this market, lower high. Now this has been confirmed on this 4-hourly with a lower high. However, we are seeing a little bit of bounce as I look at this at the moment, but you can just see it's just taken out this recent low. This has put this lower high in. There's another lower high in the shorter term frame there, trend. So it does look a bit bearish. However, it's taken it out and then just found some support around its daily S1 area here with a bit of divergence. Daily pivot above. That could be a point of selling into. There'll be a trend line across there, the highs from these points here, maybe with that 50 MA. A whole lot of confluence around that area. Just watch that if you're looking to go long. That may be the end of the long, but it may also be an option on the short side. My preference on this Western Texas WTI, if you're trading Western Texas, it gets a lot more volume coming through in the afternoon. So my preference, I don't trade it in the mornings generally. I'll look to trade it later in the day, post 2 o'clock. You get the bigger volume through it. Okay, that's oil, gold. It's just coming out to the gold here, and well, still it being in that downward trend, it struggled with the confluence that sits all around here, 100 MA, monthly R1. Its regression level sort of sits around this area, so regression channel. That channel has no real bearing in terms of support resistance in normal circumstances. It is just literally a standard deviation either side of the mean price, the average price of what's coming down there. But well, it looks like it had an initial response to it or nearby, but this could still be pushing up, and it has put in the daily picture, still got this high low in it. It's just looking a bit soft at this stage, and in fact on the 4-hourlies, oh, it's not far off. If it were to break this low that it threw in on Monday, well, that would give us a more confirmed and a bigger, more significant lower high. As we're looking through this at the moment, just chopping away at the moment, and well, if you're looking on the short side, again in this sort of movement with the lower highs that are in a 60-minute time frame here, we could you could be trading this down. It's short term, maybe down to the S1, maybe just watching this other prior low here. Maybe get buyers coming in at double bottom. Okay, that's pretty much. Oh, let's just have a look at the S&Ps now. How are these going to move today? We'll see. Okay, so S&Ps again daily still trending upwards. Bit of a shock down day before yesterday. Yesterday barely a real inside day, and I don't think it's really helping the matter with this Trump action here. It will stifle probably most things. Whether we get a Santa Claus rally, we'll have to see. But at the moment, it's, as I say, stifled. The Grinch is out there, isn't he? Perhaps we should be calling Trump the Grinch. And on that note, I'm going to wish you a happy Christmas, because I'm not going to be here for well over a week now. I'll be back on the 4th, 4th of September, I almost said there. Feels like the school holidays again, the summer holidays. But no, it's the winter holidays, and I'll be back on the 4th of January. I wish you a great holiday, however you spend it. And I will be back then. Take care. Bye for now.